Money is made possible by financial support from Old National Bank and Chicagoans like you. Thank you. Hello, welcome to In the Money. I'm your host, Kimberly Loftis, a CPA and Chicago Business Journal woman of influence who is also a financial executive that's passionate about personal finance. Tonight, we'll be focusing on a topic that weighs heavily on the minds of many that are striving for success, which is the pursuit of a debt-free higher education. We live in a world where the promise of a college degree often comes hand in hand with the need for student loans. In my case, the career I have would not have been possible without a college degree. So to me, it was invaluable for my field of study. The financial investment of a college education can be quite large, require a delicate balance between investing in one's future and avoiding the pitfalls of financial strain. In addition, student loans tend to only focus on tuition and housing, and not all the other incidentals that can also be quite large, such as textbooks, food, and transportation, just to name a few. So these day-to-day expenses end up being funded through the readily available credit cards offered to college students. Both the credit card and student loan debts will eventually become due. What's a person to do to navigate this successfully? So after the break, we'll discuss figuring out if college debt investment makes sense for you and how to manage credit cards for a more stable and prosperous future. As I mentioned earlier, today we're discussing the value of an education in terms of your future career prospects and the debt you must take on. In the studio, I have Tania Wittgenfeld, King, Assistant Vice Chancellor at Southern Illinois University, who successfully navigated both her personal struggles of being a teenage mom and first-generation college student who came out on the other side successfully. Tania, please share with the audience what your college experience was like and why college education was important to you.
Great. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show today to talk about my lived experiences and such an important topic. So growing up, I was the first in my immediate family to finish high school. And so the opportunity to go to college meant that I had an opportunity to change the trajectory of not only my life, but that of my child. And so I attended Southern Illinois University. And during that time, I learned how to navigate not only college, but I learned how to build social capital and networking skills that really helped me to hone in on some skills that I would use later in my career path.
Now, what made you different? You said you're a teenage mom, you wanted to have a better life for your child, but a lot of us want a better life for our child. But how are you able to break through that to get your college degree where other people say they want the same thing, but it's not able to break through?
Wow. Yeah, for me, I think it's grit. I think that really having an opportunity to even have access to college meant that that was a shot that not everyone in my family had an opportunity to take advantage of. And so not only did I have my children dependent on me, a lot of my family, they were rooting for me. And it meant that I could possibly break that poverty cycle within my family. And so for me, I didn't want to go back to where I came from. So that was motivation enough to say, you know what, there's no other option.
Right.
I have to do this. And so with that, there were people along the way that really opened up the doors of opportunity, but then I had to do the work.
Okay.
And so in doing that work and navigating and taking advantage of the resources, the wraparound resources, those things really helped me. And I was able to take those and then grow and gain more experience. And that really was, for me, I think we all have access and we all have opportunity, but we have to take advantage of that and use that opportunity and those resources that we have access to really kind of shape who you are going to become, not only as you're growing and living and learning who you are,
right,
but what you're going to take away with you for your college career and your career pathways after that into the workforce.
Now, there's people who are struggling just to get through high school who don't graduate. People struggle to continue on in college once they get in. It sounds like wraparound services were key to you.
Absolutely.
So how were you able to even know, did you even know they existed or what they were about when you went to college?
Well, good question. So when I came through a selective admissions program called the Center for Academic Success, formerly known as Center for Basic Skills at Southern Illinois University. And that was for students who really had potential, but may not have met the scores to get into college. And so with that, I had a mentor, I had tutoring, I had a cohort of students that I came in with, and we took classes together. And I think because we all shared those similarities, we were able to just gain like a relationship with each other and take advantage of those resources. Sometimes the resources are there and we don't think we need them, or we don't take advantage of them until it's too late. And so the programs that offer those up front, and they're it's really about the knowledge and the access. So once you know and you know the benefit of them, once you take advantage of those, I think it really can help you complete and help you remove barriers that you may experience otherwise.
Now, how does someone even figure out if those programs are available for them to go to school?
Well, so, it takes that person also wanting to know, wanting to do better. But like Southern Illinois, for example, we have on our webpage all of the access to the resources that we offer. Students can go and look on their phones at their fingertips. We also communicate the resources that are available to students because we want to see them become successful. We also have utilized other student organizations to help promote that awareness of that. So, utilizing the fraternities and sororities to share, hey, stressed out because finals are coming up, here are these stress busters. Or did you know you can speak to someone and that can really help you? What's cool is that SIU has a where students can come and use pets to kind of like calm themselves, and they can come and pet them and kind of visit with them. So different things you never know can impact a person and really help them to reduce the stress and kind of overcome kind of the stressful life that that is happening at college. You're away for the first time. You may not know a lot of people. You're dealing with a lot of different stressors. So I think those things are really helpful for students to have access to.
Now, when you talk about wraparound services, that's what we're calling it. But if I was searching on the internet and say, okay, I guess stepping back, how would I know I need wraparound services? And if I'm searching for schools that actually add that extra service for students, how do I even search what words are they using to say for that service?
So you could say, you could type in, I need help with this, and it's going to bring up tutoring or something like that. You can say resources, or on the websites, typically on every, whether it's a community college or university, it has student services. And so you're right. We call it that. But how would they know?
Right.
And so typically, though, they have the similar type of services and resources at the high school level as well. So many of them kind of know, I can go here. But for those who don't, if they search our website and just say, I need help, it's going to bring up, articles. It's going to bring up different websites for them to kind of connect.
Okay. So you had a program that you discovered in high school that helped you, with your experience in college. And then there's the whole thing where people who may or may not have the wraparound services, the services usually offer some type of scholarships or grants, but there's also usually something beyond that of college debt. What's your experience with college debt?
Oh, interesting. So as I've mentioned before, being a first generation college student, I was also I come from very humble beginnings, very low income family. And so I needed financial aid. And I don't know if I would be here today if I didn't have access to financial aid. So I'm very grateful for that. With that, I also took out loans. And at the time, I needed that to live. I needed that to pay rent. I needed that to pay my car note. I worked as a student employee, but I made $5.15 an hour. So imagine how far that went. And so I took out loans. And I wish now that I knew back then that taking out loans meant I had to pay those back. And so at the time I was just trying to live, and a lot of our students are just trying to get through that semester, just trying to get through, they're using that to eat. They're using that for resources that they need to just survive. And so that was the same for me. And so I went into debt. And so the impact that had on me later was I had to pay that back. And it actually impacted me in terms of purchasing a home. There was a limit, a cap on a home that I can afford, even though after college, I was able to progress in my career and make good money. That debt to income ratio, didn't go away. And I'm very thankful that I worked in higher education almost for 20 years now. And recently my loans have been forgiven. Thank you. And I'm grateful for that. Mm-hmm. But that debt really did have an impact on the things that I can do and aspire to do outside of college. And so for students that are looking to pursue college, I would definitely recommend that they only take out what they need. Mm-hmm. And I think we don't educate our youth enough on completing scholarships. Mm. The scholarships and grants, that's free money. You don't have to give it back. And so really teaching them how to apply for that early on is really going to help them so that they don't have to take out loans. And so millions of dollars are given back each year or not used because they're not applying for those scholarships. And a lot of times there are students that can really use it, but they just don't know, or they haven't taken that time out to complete those in time.
And you had mentioned that your salary increased over time, so and then it's important when you think about the debt you're taking on, about how much your salary is going to be over time to be able to cover that debt. I don't think a lot of people take that into account when they say, oh, I got a degree, but you also got to think about if you're going to go into nonprofit work, certain nonprofit work is not going to pay as much as other workers. You want to take that into account, the amount of debt you take on.
That's so right. Mm-hmm. And so our students, what I recommend for students, prospective students, youth coming into college, is first look at the cost, but also look at the career path that you want to take. Is that career path going to be in demand in 10 years from now? Mm-hmm. As well as, does the return on investment align with the career that you're going to go into, as well as the cost of that institution? So sometimes it's a better fit to start at a community college, finish at the university, or it's a better fit to start at a university where it's cost effective, where you have different programs. Like we have a Saluki commitment program where if your parents make under a certain threshold, you go for free. And so you want to take advantage of those. But sometimes we have students who are looking at, oh, I want to go here because of the prestige, but it may cost $100,000.
Right.
And then you're majoring in education or a psychology degree, and some of them require more education, or your career earning potential is not going to be that great in that field. So really looking at what's that return on investment. If I'm going to go into debt for $100,000 for a degree, is the career path I'm going into, is it in demand? And also, am I going to make the money that I need in order to pay that back? And so I think that's something that students really need to consider as they're looking at their career path, the longevity of that, and ultimately the potential earnings from that before they go into that debt.
Thank you so much for those great tips. There's a lot we can learn there. And when we return, we'll have live in the studio Ben Juergens, our Money Matters expert. Hi, Ben, our financial empowerment expert. Welcome back.
It's good to be back, Kimberly. Thanks.
Tonight, as you heard, we're talking about college debt, focusing on college loans, which can be an investment in one's future career. If I need college debt to attend, how do I make sure I only borrow what I truly need?
I think that's a great question to ask, because so many kids love the experience of going to college, right? I want to go to a big campus and enjoy the college life. I think it's really important to think about, what is it that I want to do after college, right? Is my career going to align with what I'm going to school for? Because many people will take on all this debt and then they go back to work, and maybe that job is really never going to pay that debt back. So I think it's really key to focus on what it is I want to do. Is that job going to be in demand? And will the salary cover the debt that I took out for college to go in that position?
Is that information available for me to find?
Oh yeah, there's lots of great websites, even through universities, talking with your school counselors while you're in high school as well. But I really think I encourage our kids to start young. Just think about what you want to do and just start exploring what it will take to get to where you want to go.
And are there ways to keep the amount of college debt down, such as need-based or merit-based?
Yeah, there's a lot of scholarships available for one. I think lastly I saw there's 1.7 million scholarships available every year, and only a fraction of that percent takes advantage of those. So many people don't know. I mean, it's merit-based. It's grades, it's athletics. there's a scholarship for just about anyone out there when I've looked at the variety available. So I encourage people, look out there and don't take for granted of maybe just what you see at your counselor's office at high school. Really explore, because whether it's merit-based, academic-based, whatever it might be, there's lots of opportunities to get some of that debt reduced.
Now, my sister with my niece did a wonderful job of finding all these different scholarships for her, so she basically did not have to come out of pocket too much.
Yeah.
And so my niece played cello for many, many years, because how many people are playing cellos? So what else could I do to try to keep my overall expenses down or find money? Is there any other tips
100%.
that you have?
So one, you look at those scholarships available. Two, there's a lot of people don't know this, but you can even negotiate. Let's say you find a college you're going with. There's always a sticker price for that tuition, kind of like when you're buying a car, Kimberly. So here's the price, and most people just think that's what you have to pay for, whatever's on the website. A lot of people don't know this. You can go back to that financial aid office and negotiate that tuition price. And a lot of times that discounted price can come favorably down, but it only happens when you ask for that. So I always recommend negotiating that tuition. Look at 529 plans. Every state has one, and many of them have some great tax benefits as well. For example, where I live, wherever you contribute, you get a straight credit back. I think in Illinois, you get a deduction whether you're married filing single or jointly of $10,000 or $20,000. So many opportunities to help fund that early and take a tax benefit from it as well.
Thank you so much for those tips. All of those are really wonderful and helpful. And when we come back from the break, we'll talk about credit card management.
Hi, I'm Bianca Cotton. On a new episode of Behind the Confident Smile, I'll be sitting in conversation with Nicole Salah Spencer.
It feels good to participate in just the healthy start of families.
Join the conversation Monday on CAN-TV Cable Channel 19 and streaming on cantv.org and CAN-TV Plus app. Experience the power of community television.
Welcome back as we talk all things regarding college debt. I started off on the wrong foot from college with credit card debt on stupid stuff, but it was important to me at the time. But not all of it represented a need. Our next expert, Tish Griffin, knows all about managing personal finances. Welcome to the show, Tish, and what are some of the things that I should have known as a first-generation college student about credit cards?
Thank you so much for having me. Now, credit cards they can be overwhelming, but when you're a young college student, a lot of people look at them as this is my way to have fun while I'm in college. I don't have any other bills that I have to worry about other than tuition. I am out on my own, but every now and then I need a concert ticket. I need something, books. I need coffee. And this is the way that a lot of students have turned to. So getting that credit card debt, but not realizing that, guess what? It's not free money. It costs, and you are going to have to pay that back some kind of way.
Now, if I have kids that already go off to college, what should be the conversations I should be having about credit cards?
At that age, when your children are going off to college, the first thing that a parent probably thinks about is, how do I get my child's credit score started? Should I put them on my accounts? What should I do? So there needs to be some sort of conversation about credit and debt and getting into debt. And if you're doing it with your child and you're doing it in a manner where you can share that experience by saying, okay, I do have a card where maybe I will add you as an authorized user, but at the same time, while I'm adding you as this user, I'm teaching you how to use it. It's your responsibility. This is what your payments will be each month. This is how much interest costs. And this is how much these fees are if you don't make that payment.
Now, what about those kids whose parents, like I was a first generation college student. My parents knew nothing about these credit card offers, and they didn't talk about credit cards. So if I'm watching this show and I know nothing, where should I go or what can I do to learn more?
First, do your research. There are a lot of different cards out there. There are some that come with high fees. There are some that people use to get perks and rewards and benefits. But you want to do your research to see which card is right for you. Now, when you first start out, you may get those offers, but they may be for a card that isn't the best card out there. It most likely will have a high interest rate, a high annual fee, which means every year at this time, they're going to charge you an additional $100, $200, some even $500 just to use this card. So you have to make sure that you have that money available on that card because you're going to have to pay that too.
Now, what mantra can I tell myself as a 18, 19-year-old college student, and someone's giving me a free pair of jeans or a free tote? Doesn't fill out a credit card application. What should I be telling myself to get me through this moment where I just walk on by?
Remain in control.
It's not good for me.
Exactly. So a lot of times we see those enticing offers out there, and we want, if we are disciplined enough to be able to do it and say, okay, I am going to get this offer, but I'm not going to use this card. I'm going to close it as soon as I get this. And sometimes we do that. We say that, but we never do it. We'll get the card, we'll get the jeans, and we'll continue to use the card. Now we've got other fees, and that debt is starting to grow. So that's why you do need to be disciplined with it.
So in our earlier segment, we talked about college debt, covering tuition, room and board, like the basics. But a lot of times the college debt may not cover food, incidentals that you just need to survive while you're a college student if you don't have family support or any other resources. And so you need to take on credit cards. What are some of your tips to managing credit card debt when you have to have it?
For that, I always suggest no matter what your credit card is, your credit card limit is, pay attention to your monthly payment and make sure that if you were to max out that card, that you can still make that minimum monthly payment based off of your own budget, your own income. Again, starting in college, you may have a $500 or $1,000 credit limit. With the $500 card, that means that your payments may be about $50 per month. So just knowing that if I were to use this card, maybe there's someone I can borrow from or go to my family and borrow enough to make that minimum payment until I'm able to pay it back. Because it does exist. Credit card debt exists, and it's there because either we were spending irresponsibly, but there's a way for you to make it work for you so that your score is still high, so that you're staying within your budget and you're able to handle those monthly payments.
Now, how do I know how much I'm able to handle?
That's a great question. Now, when you think about what it is that you are able to handle, you do need to look at your actual budget. No matter what your limit is, you know how much you can afford to come out of your pocket with each and every single month. And you want to think about that. Maybe I only have an additional $20. So then I know that based off of my spending, I want to make sure that my minimum payment stays at under or around $20 because I know that I want to be able to make that payment. But everyone's different. Everyone's situation is different too. But make the most of your situation by planning in your budget what you can afford, sticking with that, and then planning your meals around that, all those things that you need around that. Don't just go out and get $600 concert tickets for no reason when you know you need to eat next week. And food only takes you, what, $30 a week. So you do need to be responsible and plan it out.
So I'm a struggling college student. I need to put all these expenses on the credit card because my student loans don't cover it. I'm able to, struggle and make those minimum payments. And so by the time I graduated from college, I have all this credit card debt. How do I manage it when I have my first job? What are some of your recommendations to paying down that debt so that I can have a bright financial future?
When you are ready to start making some leeway on your balances, because right now in college you're struggling, you're making your minimum payments. What I always suggest is as soon as you get that new job, see how much you can afford, what extra income that you have that's not in your budget, so your discretionary income, and see what you're comfortable putting towards your debt. So if your minimum credit card payments, let's say you've got 3 cards, they're $20 each, that's $60, but there's still thousands and thousands on your balance. So if you were to just pay that minimum payment, it will take you probably 20, 30 years to pay that debt off. But let's say you got this $60 worth of minimum payments, but you can afford $40 extra. So you're paying out $100 each month just on your credit cards. If you can do that consistently and targeting one account after the other, you're going to put that extra $40 on the next account and keep that going. each and every single month, you will be out of debt within 3 to 5 years by doing what's called the snowball effect. And that's what it is. You're going to take whatever your extra money is and put it on either the creditor with the highest interest or the lowest balance. Either way it goes, you'll still get paid off in the same amount of time, but it's a matter of, do I want to see the balances fall now? Or am I okay knowing that, hey, 3 years from now, those balances are going to go away like that?
What is the avalanche method? What was another method?
Well, the snowball effect.
Okay, so it's the same thing. Okay. Okay. And so do you recommend someone paying the lowest balance first or the highest interest first? What do you recommend?
I actually recommend, because I like to see things, doing the lowest balance first.
Okay.
But it still takes the same time frame.
But don't I pay more interest if I pay the low balance first and it has a low interest and I leave the high interest one so I had to be comfortable paying the higher interest?
You do have to be comfortable paying it, and just knowing that you're going to be paying it, but your balance is still going down.
Right. But if I'm a person who cares about how much interest I pay, then I would flip it and pay the high interest first, because I don't, I'm not excited about seeing something paid off. I just want to save on interest.
Right. That's more money in your pocket. Right.
So it's but it should be your personality drives you. But the key is you have a plan.
And you stick to it. Okay. That's the most important thing.
And then you start off with 40, maybe in the future you get your pay raises. What would you recommend if somebody got a pay raise after a year or two? What should they do with that debt that they still have?
Still take that same effect, however much you can afford, and you still will pay that extra towards that debt as well. So if you've got an additional $100 that you're adding on to that $40, that'll get you paid off that much sooner. You probably be out of debt within a couple of years.
Now, if lenders are looking at your credit report and they see this balance going down over time, is that a positive thing?
If a lender sees that your balances are going down, yes, for them it is a positive, especially if you need something in the future. Okay. Now, here's the thing. They want you to use them no matter what.
Right.
So they may send you more enticing offers because they see that, oh, she knows how to pay her bills. Let me send her my card. We're going to give her a 0% for 12 months, but under that 12 months might be like a 30% interest rate. So it's like they're going to sneak their way in there. But if you're handling it responsibly and you handle that 0% for 12 months, a lot of times you can go back to them when that new interest rate is getting ready to reset and say, hey, I've kept this card pretty good. Can we keep my rate lower? Or can you lower it under what you originally said? So,
and I could go back to my other creditors too and try to get a lower interest rate as well.
Yes. Never be afraid to call their bluff. You want to make sure if you have an offer from someone and you really like your card, but the rate is higher, you can let them know. Say, hey, this creditor sent me an offer for 0%. You have me at 10%. Can we come to some sort of compromise? And a lot of times they will, because they don't want to lose you as a customer. So.
Okay, well, great. These are great tips for all those people who have student loan debt, credit card debt. These are great tips. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Rich Robbins, inviting you to join me for the series Soft and Tender. Soft and Tender celebrates the resilience and emotional depth of Black fatherhood, offering a powerful narrative on family bonds and ongoing challenges faced by Black communities.
As a father and as a parent in general, you have to know that you're not going to always understand, and that's okay.
Tune in on CAN TV, cable channel 19, or stream at cantv.org or the CAN TV Plus app. Experience the power of community television.
Understanding the true cost of education, exploring alternatives like scholarships and grants, and developing a disciplined approach to managing expenses are key to having a debt-free future. Your journey through college is not just about your field of study, but it's also about learning life skills such as financial know-how to maintain good financial health during the college years and after. Once you have done your research and made sure that the cost of college makes sense for the return you will get in lifetime earnings, you can make sure you are making the right investment for your future. Join us next week as we continue our journey to financial freedom for 2024. If you have any questions about today's topic or past topics, please send me an email to Kimberly@inthemoneyemail.com or follow me on Instagram at Diva of Cashflow. Remember, we are on this journey together.